Hi guys, welcome. Everyone hear me okay? All clear? Right, bear with me. I'm just gonna check good old Facebook to make sure that I'm coming through. Bear with me. Okay, I think we're good. Okay, so welcome to a new week. Hopefully you guys had a good weekend and everything. So as per last live session, two kind of objectives today. One is just to talk a little bit about the exercise aspect of the abundance diet. And the second part of today is just to focus in on how everyone is doing, see if anyone, because last session we had a really good chat, and we were able to really provide quite a lot of advice to people who had individual questions around different areas and different topics and things like that. So we want to do that as well. Everyone, am I coming through okay? Am I nice and clear? Signal's good? Yeah, lots of thumbs up. Good. A few people are frozen in front of me.
No, I can hear you good.
You can hear everyone hear me? Okay. So obviously the abundance diet is all about health. Okay, if we're thinking about what the abundance diet is designed around, the structure of it, the focus of it, the research behind it, it's about health promotion and it's about disease prevention. Okay, that's the whole focus of it. Yes, the weight loss is important, and for a lot of people, weight loss is going to be a key motivation for taking part. But the weight loss, trust us, the weight loss will look after itself. Okay, whether that happens in the first month, whether it happens in the last month, whether it happens in 4 months, as we continue this after the 12 weekends, the weight loss will come. Okay, the weight loss will look after itself. It's just a natural byproduct, a natural side effect of high volume, low calorie density eating. Okay, and I know we've had loads of people on here who've lost a load of weight. We've had lots of people on here who haven't lost they've lost a couple of pounds, but haven't lost that much weight yet. And that's normal. We've done this loads of times. You always see kind of that heterogeneity in how people respond, because in the same way that some people like spicy food, some people don't. Some people prefer running, some people prefer swimming, some people prefer getting up early, and some people prefer getting up later. We're all different. We're all unique entities. So, if we're putting the same food into our bodies, some people will burn that and metabolize it quicker than others. Okay, the key is consistency. If we're consistent as the weeks unfold, the weight loss will come down. The weight will come down, the weight loss will happen. Okay, the bigger focus for me, the motivation for why we run the abundance diet is very much health and well-being, feeling good, feeling happy, feeling strong, really elevating our health, our energy, our vitality, our sleep, and doing things that will physiologically change the way our body's working, the way our organs and our cells are working, make it harder for disease to set in. The diet, what we're eating, is an absolute foundation of that. So are the herbal medicines and everything else. But something that we've touched on, but I want to go into just a little bit more detail today is the concept of movement. Okay, movement or exercise. Exercise is probably not the term we want to use. Movement is the better one. And because we've had quite a lot of comments and questions around what our stance on exercise is, how we should be approaching it from the concept of the abundance diet and whatnot. And it's great timing, actually. It's great timing to be talking about this because there's a very, very big shift in the way, so something called the ACSM, the American College for Sports Medicine, and they're the global leader on how we can use exercise, movement, physical activity, whatever you want to call it, as a way of preventing disease. And they've got loads of resources and whatnot. But if you look at the shift in their language, their concepts, their focus over the last probably 5 years, it's shifted, okay, particularly in the context of health promotion and weight loss. And one of the things I want to talk about today is this difference between this very manualized, prescriptive, very kind of Western concept of exercising for something. I'm exercising because I want to be a size 8. I'm exercising because I want to lose 3 stones. I'm exercising blood, sweat, and tears to reach a discernible objective goal. Okay, I want to, benefit into this. I want to lose this much weight, whatever it is. And looking at how I suppose limited and one-dimensional that is compared to a completely different paradigm of exercise, which is about moving our body in an intuitive way, in a health promoting way, and a fun way. Okay, and this is so important because even going back 10 years when we were looking at the effects of exercise interventions in NHS cancer patients, people who exercised because they enjoyed it exercised indefinitely. People who exercise because they were told they should, because they know it's good for them, because they want to get this goal, didn't. Okay, and this is something that's really, really, really important because when we're exercising, so we've signed up to this 12-week program and we've got a goal of I want to be able to have more energy to play with the kids, or I want to lose 2 stone. That's brilliant. We need those goals. If you remember, way back at the start of this, we spoke about that health motivation assessment. What's our why? Why are we taking part in this? And we need those objective goals. We need that focus. But if we narrow that focus down too much in the context of exercise, we risk throwing the baby out with the bathwater in many ways, because if we're exercising for weight loss exclusively, if the whole focus of why we get our trainers on and go for a run, even if our mind is saying I don't want to do it, I'm not looking forward to this. If we're getting into the gym and we're doing our gym session, even though our muscles are saying this isn't the right day to be lifting weights, and a million other examples, if we're going against our intuition, if we're going against what our body's telling us, then we lose more than we gain. Okay, if our single focus is so blinkered in that I'm doing this running, I'm doing this training just to lose weight, what happens if our weight trajectory isn't the way we want it to be? Okay, so say we've been exercising hard for 3 weeks, we've only lost half a pound. What's the inner dialogue? The inner dialogue, it's not working. The exercise is having no impact. What's the point? So we focus so much on the role of exercise on weight loss, this singular entity. What we ignore is all of the other hundreds of things that exercise is doing for us, in terms of regulating our blood sugar, boosting our immune function, lowering our cancer risk factors, lowering our heart disease risk factors, reducing our Alzheimer's risk factors, increasing our energy, supporting better digestion, improving sleep. I could sit here for an hour reeling off what exercise does for us. And we're getting all of those benefits from exercise, but by ignoring and focusing on just this one variable of weight loss, the dialogue in our mind around what exercise is doing for us goes from being something that's profoundly positive, broadly and evidentially helpful to something that, what's the point? What's the point? I can't be bothered. It's not working. I'm going to change. So I'm going to change from running to doing weights. I'm going to change from weights to doing yoga. I'm going to change yoga to doing Pilates. And there's this ever state of flux where we're moving from one thing to the other. And that then becomes damaging. Okay. It becomes damaging and it becomes limiting when we focus in so much on one endpoint. Okay. So what we want to do I will talk about a bit more of an intuitive model in a minute. But when we're looking at moving the body, we don't want to put a goal on it. Okay, movement is movement. Okay, it's obvious, the evidence speaks for itself. We need to be moving the body on a daily basis. Okay, we need to move the body on a daily basis, ideally every day. And I was looking this morning actually at some of the research around this. And so going back about 30 years, looking at research that includes over almost 1 million people. So we're talking the biggest, the most powerful forms of clinical medical research. One of the most significant predictors of any given person's ability to, one, reach their weight loss goals, and two, maintain those for decades into the future is not exercise intensity or exercise type or exercise frequency, it's consistency. Okay, it's people who every day move their body. Okay, one day it might be weights, one day it might be walking the dog, it doesn't matter. But people who are active to lesser or varying intensities every day are far, far more effective at elevating their health, reducing their disease risk factors, and losing weight than people who go through cycles of 3 days a week of being manic exercise, 2-hour gym sessions, being beasted, and then being less active or sedentary for the other 4 days. Or they'll go through a month of high activity and then they'll fall off the wagon and have a week of no exercise. That it shocks the body. It can biggest predictors of weight loss. But if we're looking at things like Alzheimer's, okay, very, very compelling evidence around exercise, long-term exercise prevalence and reduced Alzheimer's risks. Likewise for cancer, likewise diet is this need to move the body. Okay, absolutely essential. But I think one of the things exercise medicine and sports medicine is maybe lost. I think it's quite
Sam, you keep freezing. You might want to come up here.
a big loss.
He can't hear me, can he? Sam, hello. I'm gonna go speak to him in person. Help, bear with.
Sorry, guys, connection went down there for some reason, so I'm back on this one. Everyone hear me okay now? Good. I think one of the things that, we really need to focus on, and I'm a huge advocate of this and a huge fan of this, and is this idea of intuitive exercise. Okay, so what we're doing is governed by how we're feeling. Okay, so as an example, I was thinking about it today. Like yesterday, my son and I did a quite a big day mountain biking. You know, we were out for about 3 hours doing downhill mountain biking, which was great. But today, I feel a little bit achy. I definitely don't want to do anything big. So my body's saying, you don't need another big day. You don't need another big day where you're going to be, really working your muscles and lungs hard. So just, 25 minutes on the indoor bike, a little bit of yoga, that's enough. It's enough to give me all of the benefits of exercise. And it's doing it in a way that's going to support what my body and what my mind is saying I need, rather than fighting against it. And this is particularly true coming at it from the Ayurvedic perspective, from our emotional perspective, from our emotional center now. Because if we're feeling stressed, if we're feeling anxious, overwhelmed, so we've got a really big week planned where we're having to do more than what we normally would, whatever it may be. What's actually happening in that state of stress or overwhelm? Our adrenal glands on top of our kidneys are having to produce more adrenaline, more cortisol to help us deal with that demand. So if someone's sick who we care about, that's causing stress. That's stressing our adrenals. If we're having to work longer days, that's stressing our adrenals. In that kind of state, what our body needs is, it needs nourishment, it needs support, it needs care, it needs balance. If we go and do an hour HIIT session or an hour really high intensity exercise, that's just going to deplete us more. Okay, it's going to put more stress on a depleted body. Whereas if we go for a beautiful 40-minute walk out in nature, or we go and do some restorative yoga, that's not going to deplete the body. It's going to restore the body. It's going to rejuvenate and repair the body. And the opposite is also true. Like, I'm thinking now about often how a lot of people will feel early New Year after 2 weeks of Christmas and eating too much and drinking too much. You get to 3rd, 4th of January, and we're all feeling sluggish. We're all feeling lethargic, or I know I do, kind of just heavy. What's the body crying out for? It's crying out for stimulation, doing something perhaps more extreme, more intense, more rigorous. If you do yoga, you might do a bit more of a faster pace yoga. If you're going for a run, you might go for a bit of a faster run. Things that are energizing, things that are more rigorous, I suppose, in terms of the energy levels. And we have to listen to our body. The way our body feels is how our body communicates to us. So if we've got a pain, so we've got a really, and we see this a lot actually, people with sore knees, people with arthritic knees and things like that, insisting on running, 20, 30, 40 kilometers a week and wondering why they've got sore knees, because the sore knees are the body's way of saying, I need to rest my knees, I need to do something else. So these symptoms, the way the body communicates to us is through how we feel. And if we listen to that and we honor that, we can get all the benefits of exercise with none of the risks. Okay, so very much a focus for all of us this week as a community is obviously keeping on track with our diet, making sure the foods we're eating are in accordance with the meal plan, making sure we're taking our metabolic stimulation, making sure we're eating at the right time. Yeah, all of the bedrocks. But can we put a focus this week, and even and ideally onwards, onto how, not just moving the body, not just this idea we need 10,000 steps and we need this, that, and the other, but unique to you and unique to me. So today, what, if you haven't already, and I haven't already, what are you going to do today? What are you going to do that's going to give us all of the evidence-based benefits of physical movement and exercise, but in a way that's going to make you feel happy, in a way that's going to make you feel good? So moving for happiness rather than exercising for weight loss. That's the mantra. That's the affirmation. What are you going to do that is going to make you feel really positive, happy, buzzing, that you would do anyway? If you weren't trying to lose weight, if you weren't trying to get healthy, whatever, that you would still do, in the same way that people still do art and people still play music and still do hobbies, even though they're not necessarily good for us because that we love doing them. How can we move exercise from something we must do because it's good for us to something we want to do because we enjoy it? Again, if we can do that, then exercise becomes an established, embedded part of our day-to-day life in the same way that brushing our teeth is. And if we can do that, then everything changes. Okay, because it's, along with diet, it's the foundation of health. If you look at all of the research around what it is to not get sick, whether that's acutely sick in terms of things like acute depression or mood disorders or infections, all the way to the more chronic life-threatening problems that are associated with aging, we know exercise has an impact upon inhibiting all of those. Okay, and it needs to be a key focus, but I think it needs to be a much more intuitive, holistic focus rather than the ram down your throat. I need 10,000 steps, I need half hour of weight training, I need this, that, and the other. Those are all good, but how can you and me as individuals, how do we do it? How do we make movement enjoyable? And what does that physically look like today, this day? How do you achieve that? How do you facilitate that?
And I think enjoyment is a massive part of that, because I really wish I was one of those people that really loved exercise, but I'm definitely not. I never ever have been. I remember cross country at school, literally it filled me with dread. I hated it, but I really liked swimming. I love walking, and I think if you have a dog, obviously, then you're forced to go out. If you've got kids, I think probably you're forced to go out. But is there anything, dancing or a spin class, or you've got to kind of maybe try Zumba, like what do you enjoy? Because that's kind of the golden ticket to finding, making exercise part of your regular routine. And
also variety, because that's the key thing, is that if we do things, our moods vary by the minute, but if you compare how you feel today to compare to how you felt on Friday, if we're exercising based on our moods, the chances are we're going to get different types of exercise. And that's one of the big linchpins of the health benefits of exercise. We need variety. Some exercise is stressing our lower body more than our upper body. Some exercise the other way around. Some exercise more heart and lung based, some more muscle based. And if we're mixing it up based around what we're feeling, if it's pouring with rain and freezing cold and we don't feel like going for a walk, then maybe we go and do yoga, which works the muscles more. If it's a beautiful day like it is today, where it's nice and sunny, we might not want to do any muscle work. We might want to go outside and work the heart and lungs. And if we're varying what we're doing, we're going to get the impact upon our heart, our lungs, our muscles, our ligaments, everything, because we're having that variety. And that, I think that variety being the spice of life is absolutely the holy grail, really, of exercise. Okay, it's really key. So this idea of moving for happiness, pleasure, rather than exercising because I'm going to drag the weight down, I'm going to lose 4 pounds this week, doesn't work. It just creates a negative dialogue. Okay, so really, 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 really key. I'm guessing, actually, probably, are most people pretty active? Would you say, looking at everyone who's here, and I need to pull up Facebook actually on the phone, but are most people active? Would you say you guys are pretty much active every day in some way, shape, or form? Would you say that is your activity is it within set parameters? Is it kind of typically always one or two things, or is there quite a lot of variety? Who thinks they've got a lot of variety? They'll mix it up quite a lot. Aerobic, anaerobic walking, different things, stretching. Quite a few of you. Is anyone having any problems with the movement side? And this includes everyone on Facebook. Is anyone having problems with getting that quota in, that kind of daily movement in, or who's having problems with that? Anyone?
Hi Sam, it's Carol.
Hello Carol, how are you?
Hi. I'm still restricted because my hip.
Yeah.
I am rowing every day, but I haven't yet got the comfort level to be able to go and do the walking, which is what I really like to do. Okay. And I haven't yet been able to get back into my boots to go and do my Katie Roo, but I'm working with a physio, so it's improving, but I am not getting out and about as much as I'd like to because my body won't allow it.
So I guess on the one hand, it's great because you're still getting, by having that rowing, at least you've circumvented, I suppose, the health issue of not exercising. So you're still getting that in, which is good. Does the hip work? Is the hip painful for exercise other than, so if it's okay on the rower, would things like bikes be an option?
I don't know is the answer. We got rid of our bikes simply because we didn't feel safe on the road.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't know is the answer. But the rowing, at least when I'm doing that, it's working everything, all the joints. And if you do it fast enough, then it works the aerobic as well.
Yeah, I mean, rowing is literally one of the few things where it's every aspect. It's every aspect of the exercise benefits in one package. So it's a brilliant one for that.
And Vicky just put up a suggestion actually there, Carol, about maybe like some chair yoga, which some of you I know Marsha is in the Facebook group and she's just recovering from surgery as well. So there's some brilliant resources around. So some chair yoga, I mean, even getting out in the garden and doing some gardening and things like that, it doesn't always have to fit the box of exercise. If you're moving your body,
I
then
can walk behind the mower.
yeah, getting down and digging over some garden beds, because it's a lovely day out there. So yeah, maybe just I think obviously you need to be conscious of any injuries, but yeah, there we go. So Vicky's put a suggestion there of some decent ones.
Is the physio is the physio going to plan? Carol, would you say? Is it?
Yes, yeah. The problem, the issue is the reducing of the gap in the joint. It's the I can't remember what the terminology is, but I'm all right if I'm not under load. It's when I'm under load that the discomfort comes in.
Okay.
So that's why walking is at an issue at the moment, but it is getting better.
Okay.
Anyone else want to share their exercise highs or woes or whatever they may be?
I'm just looking at the Facebook. Bear with me, guys.
But hopefully, I think that's given you guys a kind of a context of a little bit of homework this week is trying to find some exercise. I mean, some of you might be exercising and you're already there. You've already found something that really works for you. You really enjoy. But yeah, just a little bit to think about kind of over the next week, and feel free to share it with the group. Is finding something that you enjoy, even if it's putting on, I don't know, Whitney Houston and dancing around your kitchen for 15 minutes. Like it literally, it's about finding the joy in the exercise.
That's quite a good. So, the private message come up about plenty of aerobic in terms of heart and lungs, but worried about not having enough muscular training. And I think this is probably something that's quite relevant. I think quite a lot of people stack that way. Maybe there's much more, well, not even much, but more focus on the move, the walking, the running, the things that work the heart and lungs, but without perhaps building muscle mass. And the evidence shows that as well. It's probably the weakest link in a lot of people. And I think it is a significant one, because if we don't intervene, if we don't do things specifically after the age of about 40, we lose 1% of muscle mass a year as we age. So if you're 60, you could have lost between 15 and 20% muscle mass, which is a big impact on our vitality, but also things like trips and falls. One of the leading causes of death, which is really bad, is trips and falls. Not necessarily because of the injury from the trip and the fall, but because people have trips and falls and then end up in hospital for something routine, and then they get a nasty staph infection or something like that. So we don't want trips or falls, and muscle mass is key. So I do think it's important to begin to make sure that over a week, we don't need to be militant, and like I said earlier, we don't need to be I need to make sure I'm doing this, that and the other, but just looking at what we're doing. And there are some exercises that give it all. Things like yoga works the heart, it works the lungs, it works the muscles. Pilates, whole body exercises like rowing, walking to a degree, but it could be a bit more intense. But I think it's quite a good comment, that to make sure we are focusing on actual muscle based activity, particularly if you're a woman, and particularly if you're a postmenopausal woman, because of the osteoporosis element as well, making sure we're really helping the bone to regenerate tissue, so we don't end up with there was a big thing came out on the weekend. So 1 in 2 postmenopausal women now in Britain will have a bone related trauma over the course of their postmenopausal years. 1 in 2. It's a huge statistic, and they're saying weight bearing exercise is one of the most effective ways of preventing that. So it is important to look at those differences, but I think as Holly said, it's a real focus this week, but trying to be a bit more intuitive, trying to think about what do I feel like, rather than having to do something because it's good for you. Because there's no fun in that. It's the equivalent of dieting. You know, you dieting to lose weight is restrictive. Exercising because you have to is restrictive. Okay, so also Power Fitness Events, which is spinning based class with Elaine, but lots to do with mindset. Okay, that's an interesting resource as well. If you've got access to that.
So just to
Brilliant.
Vicky.
Sorry,
Hello.
it's just really, Elaine is brilliant because it builds in the mindset and the positivity side of it, and the just be it, because she does loads of sort of affirmations and things as you're doing the class. So just a suggestion for someone if anyone's local.
Yeah, those resources are awesome.
Yeah. So I think just to reflect kind of on some other areas this week, I think I put a video up yesterday in the Facebook group about just a reflection on my week and a few things I had. I think this week's been like a really heavy one for everybody. I think the news this week is literally just, you know, we're living in a really turbulent time, and that does affect our emotions. And, you know, I think everyone on here is a woman, so I think we all feel it. Not saying that men don't feel it, but I think, you know, hormones and things like that. Anyway, so I kind of had a bit of a reflection on my week yesterday, and I hadn't been as healthy as perhaps I wanted to be, and kind of just analysed maybe the reasons why. And one was we just had a really busy work week last week with kids and work and just lots of stuff. And I think, yeah, you know, I watched a man evacuate Ukraine with his cat, which just like literally broke me down. You know, you see things, oh my God, it triggered me really bad. And yeah, so last week I just had a few bumps in my road and just was trying to reflect on what I could do a little bit better this week. Last week I did my exercise last week was really good, and I got out with a friend and went for a run, and I did we've got the indoor bike that we keep referring to. I got on the bike a couple of times and did some yoga. I was really good with my journaling and my meditation last week and my Abhyanga and things like that. But my food wasn't really what I wanted it to be. And I was just trying to pin down why. And one, I think I went to bed too late, basically, last week a lot, which doesn't help me at all. I get really tired, and that's not, you know, it's not good. And I just didn't drink a huge amount of water, which for me, I know, again, is one of my weaknesses. So some of you might have watched my little rant in the Facebook group yesterday. But yeah, I just wondered if anyone else had done a bit of reflection and was happy to share kind of their highs, or if you know, haven't had a brilliant week, if you need a little bit of a pep talk, please feel free to unmute and share if anyone's lurking.
Or even if you've got any questions, anything. Yeah, sorry, Linda, go on.
Just to say that I saw my son, and I haven't seen him for about 4 weeks, and he said how much better I looked. I hadn't said I was doing anything, and with all my grandchildren, I managed to keep up with all of them, even the young ones that fly about all over the place. And I reflected on that sitting on the train coming home, and I thought, actually, yes, I do. I haven't lost much weight. I'd like to lose a lot more, but I actually feel so much better. I didn't think it made any difference to how I looked, but obviously he did. So it was sort of a revelation. I'm sitting there on the train smiling to myself, thinking, wow, it's working.
Yeah.
Was that one of your objectives, more energy, or was that just a kind of more of a sub?
Yes, it was one of my objectives, and the other one was well, I mean, there were quite a few, but apart from the weight thing, I felt that I'd sort of lost my mojo, and I actually feel it's come back. So I feel so much less bloated. So I didn't think that would happen particularly, but on reflection I think, oh, it's all good.
And what did you say, Linda, when your son said to you, you know, you look great? What did you say back to him?
I said he hadn't looked at me before. I just said that I'd been trying to eat more healthily and less meat, and that's been a really good thing to do, because I never knew what to cook. I like cooking, but I never knew what to cook. And several of the dishes I've given to my husband, and he hasn't noticed that there's no meat, which is even better.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, good. Oh, well,
That's awesome,
That's
Linda.
really great news.
I'm really pleased.
And anything you've
Yeah.
struggled with over the last week or so, or have you been pretty much?
A bit with my exercise because the weather's been so awful and I haven't really wanted to go out very much. But I did, the day that I was with them, I did 13,000 steps, which
Perfect.
for me is a lot. But I usually do about 6,500 to 7,000. And today the sun is shining. So when this is finished, I am going for a long walk.
Lovely. I went for a walk this morning and it's a really nice day.
Yeah.
Oh, well done, Linda. That's super.
And anyone to, but just quickly, bearing in mind the main pillars in terms of the diet, eating from the meal plans or equivalents, the metabolic stimulation, the herbal medicines, is everyone still loosely keeping with those? Anyone got any issues in any of those areas? Anything that you're finding hard, difficult, need modification to make it more relevant to you, or is everyone generally on track? So we're at a really key time point now because we're reaching critical mass. And I spoke about it in the free week, but there's a huge amount of work on this critical mass where you do something long enough and things begin to exponentially change at the cellular level. And we're pretty much there now, where we put the hard work and we've laid the foundations, and now we start building up. You know, it's like building a house, isn't it? All that hard work goes underground in the footings, and then you start to see the benefit when you start kind of building up and actually seeing the house. And that's where
I could see Gillian nodding there. So Gillian, have you got any wisdom to share?
I am actually finding it quite hard doing the exact meal plans, partly because I'm busy, I'm disorganized, I'm still getting my shop online, and therefore I'm not getting a shop till this Wednesday, and I've looked and I've got no coconut, you know, no tins of lentils. However, I'm just thinking I'm just going to go along with the sort of basic principle. And I had purple for tonight. Oh, for lunchtime today, I had some minestrone soup, admittedly with pancetta, but I put more courgette in it, a bit more green in it for lunch. And then tonight I had some frozen cod, and I'd actually been tempted into buying a spicy arrabbiata sauce. Now, okay, I didn't make it myself, but I'm going to put that with the cod. And I've got purple sprouting broccoli that I got from Riverford last Wednesday. So I'm not being very perfect, but I did do yoga this morning with Bryony, my daughter, actually, if that rings a bell to you. And I'm going for a walk after lunch. So, and my husband.
I don't think feel free, you know, if the meal plans just give you some inspiration, then that's enough. It doesn't, you don't have to necessarily stick to the meal plan. I know Carol said she's, you know, cooking for herself. So actually the meal plan is way too much. So of course you guys can chop and change as it suits. So don't feel, I think you're still doing amazing, even if you're not following the meal plan.
Okay. Thank you.
And there's loads of extra recipes in the extra recipe bit of the abundance diet. So, you know, that's some extra resources there. So if you need to change it to suit, then that's no problem at all.
Anna, are you well? It's nice to see you. Are you, Anna? Are you well? Everything going well your end? Yeah.
There we go. Sorry.
Hello.
Are you well?
Yes, I'm well. I have to confess I haven't said anything because I'm struggling a bit, so I just can't talk at the moment. It's just I'm still self-isolating. And I'm finding everything. Getting into. I almost feel now I've got to go back to the beginning and start again because I just can't get my mind into it.
And I think that's one of the reasons why I did not want picking on you in a bad way, but I know. You know, when we were all self-isolating, it was easy because we're all in the same boat. But whereas when you're one of the few people now that are having to self-isolation when the whole of the country is coming out, I think it takes that hard situation and makes it magnified, doesn't it? And I think that's a very challenging place to be. But holding your own?
Oh yeah, holding my own, yes, but I'm not doing nearly as much as I should be doing. I manage the food mostly, but everything else, it just, I can't get my head around it at the moment. That's what I find hard. I'll get there. I'll go back to the beginning and start again.
Yeah.
I'll check in with you later, Anna. But okay, good. I'm pleased. I'm pleased it's going. Yeah, I'm pleased it's on track.
Thank you.
Yeah, could I so it's Hannah here. Yeah, I've been, hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I've been really struggling the last 2 months to get on with it. I started quite well, but I get IBS stomach problems, and it is for me the fibre is up and down is and I know I haven't been sticking to the meal plan properly, and I've been substituting and bits and pieces. So I kind of feel like I need to start again from this week as well. I've been doing the exercise, and again the weather does put me off the cold, wet cold mornings and bits and pieces. So I didn't do much last week, but today,
I think if you are feeling like you need to kind of have a little bit of a reboot, like Anna and Hannah, if you're kind of feel like you need to kickstart things again, my suggestion would be to get in the kitchen and prep some meals today or tomorrow or this week, but as soon as you possibly can, prep some meals so there's some stuff there that so you don't have to think about it. Your lunch is there, so it's obvious what you're going to eat. Your dinner's there, so it's obvious what you're going to have. And really just kind of get, like, rather than focus on the 12 weeks or focus on the long term, just look a day at a time or 2 days ahead. So you know what you're going to eat for the next 2 days, and just try and get those days sorted. Because I think once you get a couple of days under your belt, and I know probably there's some people in the group that have done this, once you get a few days under your belt and you're feeling well and you've achieved that and you've recognized it and you've kind of given yourself the credit for getting those bits in line, then it just gets a little bit easier as you go along. So I'd kind of work out where you need to put your focus and try and approach it that way, if that helps at all.
Yeah, that'd be great. It's just because I haven't been doing it on the Sunday, and I think I'll do it on a Monday, and then that slips, and you think actually.
And also, I think we're viewing it as a 12-week just because it's important to have that start and end point. But the aim behind this is that this is the modus operandi going forward forever. So whether you really hit the ground running this week or next week or in 4 weeks, it doesn't change the outcome. It just pushes everything back. So there's no drama. Everyone has different motivation levels. Everyone's got different things going on. But the key thing is you've got the framework, you've got the structure. You can pull the trigger on it at any time you need. Good weeks, bad weeks, we all have that. But having that knowledge to say, well, I've got things lined up to really hit the ground running now. That's all that matters because the framework is there.
Yeah,
so
it is really useful to have those. And the other thing, because I've got it all on my phone or tablet, I haven't got a printer. So the other thing, I'm like looking day to day, so it would be useful for me to get that printed out in black and white. But then again, you can just write down the recipes off, you can copy. I mean, the porridge things are easy because, and just the evening meals, maybe just need to write down that day, for 2 days, what you're going to have, what you've got in the kitchen already.
So hard copy helps, I think. Hard copy.
When we can get Holly to do her book, we'll have all of that printed.
Yes, please.
Yeah, it's in there. It's just
you have to pay someone to do it.
Yeah, I need a coach to get me through it. So but I think as well, Hannah, like, you're here, you've shown up, like, so that is, well done for doing that, because you could easily just kind of ignore our emails and disappear into the distance. So, you obviously want to be here. So I think, just kind of focus today and tomorrow on sorting out the bits that you kind of want to focus on, and give yourself a little bit of a plan, and we'll check in with you as well, just to
so I'm doing it more for health and maybe a little bit of weight loss, but more for the gut health, which I know quite a bit about because I've had that problem for a couple of years quite badly. I've actually lost weight rather than put it on before, so I do have to monitor.
And it is a really hard thing to kind of live with continuously, because it affects everything, doesn't it? So
but I agree. Getting something in the bag, especially on a Monday, if we just get something in the bag, we get our exercise done or we get tonight's meal done, just provides that momentum for tomorrow, and then get something tomorrow that provides the momentum for Wednesday, and quickly it can turn into a self-fulfilling cycle.
And it is nice to have something prepared rather than sort of scrambling around what am I going to have today and grabbing stuff and sort of not really, like you say, keeping on it and having bit of something you shouldn't really want to put on there. But yeah, I've got plenty of ingredients, just a matter of, you know, getting it sorted. And I do substitute. I mean, I'm not going to go especially and buy a load of tomatoes if I haven't got tomatoes. You know, I suppose a tin of tomatoes you could substitute. It's not quite.
If all else fails, have a dal. That's my motto.
Yeah,
If all else fails, make a dal, because it takes 20 minutes. You know, you've got your red lentils, like most, if you can eat lentils, red lentils are generally in everyone's cupboard, a bit of coconut milk and whatever veg you've got, spices, can't go wrong.
With me, the only thing I've had problems with the fibre, I think lentils can be a bit too high fibre, but maybe if I don't have too much and mix it with something else. Yeah, I'm
And if
okay.
you just roast, so if you say you made a dal but roasted up loads of veggies that you have in the fridge, because if you've got loads of roast veggies in the fridge, whether it's, you know, root veg or courgettes or cauliflower, all of that, then you can mix that in with something like a dal. But even just like, you know, poach a couple of eggs and some pesto, like weird things like that. Roast veggies are kind of a great thing to prep. And I often will, if I'm cooking, you know, if I've got the oven on, I'll empty the fridge and use up all of the kind of slightly sad looking veggies and roast them.
Yeah, is try and cook it, because it obviously you've got the shelf life of vegetables as well, haven't you? So yeah, I think on that side, I haven't used that yet. But I did make a vegetable casserole yesterday with beans, and I roasted a courgette at the same time, so I got that today because that was going, you know, a bit soft. So just cut it in half and put it in the oven with olive oil and herbs. That's really nice. So yeah, I'm getting there. Yeah.
Anyone else? Linda?
I think you're still muted,
You're
Linda.
I was, yeah, sorry.
Oh.
No, I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, sorry, Linda. We've got two
there's
Lindas.
Another one.
There's
Okay.
another Linda.
Yeah, like the other two ladies, I'm doing sort of a reboot. I started and then I got COVID and sort of took quite a bashing from that and suffered really bad from the fatigue. So I'd come in from work and just sit down and go straight to sleep. But I've been struggling with the food side, because I'd take food to work in like a soup flask, being very mindful of the fact that I was not having anything that was too strong smelling. And suddenly at work, they decided there's no food at the desk. So I thought, well, the other way around it was soup. So I took soup and I was told, no, you can't have that at your desk. So what I've done for lunch at work is I've been doing a smoothie with a little bit of apple juice, water, lots of greens, rocket, spinach, kale, some pears, apples, whatever takes my fancy on the day, nuts, seeds and all that, and been having that. Is that all right to do sort of lunch times and have that instead of a meal?
Yeah, but why are you not being given a lunch break at work?
I only get paid for the hours I do. If I take a lunch break, I don't get paid. So it's
I mean,
an awkward situation. So
that sounds tough. Yeah, I mean, a smoothie is a great option if that's all you're going to be allowed to have, then yeah, but I mean the soup would obviously be better, but yeah, it sounds like you're a bit restricted there with things.
How many days a week is that?
That's 3, maybe 4 if I've had, like last week I had a stomach bug, so I had to miss a day, so I've got to make up the day this week. But I make sure there's no dairy or anything in it. It's just purely a little bit of, it's like in the NutriBullet, it's three fingers of apple juice, the rest is liquid will be water. But I make sure there's lots of like there's some hemp in it and chai and chai seeds, and I try and mix up stuff.
And I think if your other meals kind of, if that's your lunch, but you've had a decent breakfast and you're having like a nice dinner and you're not kind of too hungry, then yeah, I mean, I'd maybe try and I don't know if you can sneak in, like, it's a bit of a weird combination, but sometimes if I have a smoothie for breakfast, I randomly have a boiled egg like a little bit after it, just because I find that sometimes a smoothie, particularly if it's like quite a vegetable based one, I sometimes feel like I need something a little bit extra. So I don't know if you can, like,
Squirrel egg in.
Yeah, something like that or whatever.
That's one of the things people moaned about in the smell if someone was bringing in boiled eggs. And
oh yeah, it's not the best.
How are you feeling fatigue wise? Is it the long COVID wise? Is that getting better?
It's getting better. We took your COVID protocol because 3 of us in the family got it within a week.
I remember you saying.
And all 3 of us total different symptoms, but all 3 of us used the protocol, and the fatigue. It's getting better. And what I've done now is I've joined a local hotel that's got a swimming pool and gym and sauna, and a friend and I are trying to go at least 4 times a week. But then got the stomach bug last week and wasn't a good idea to go. Every time I seem to get into throw of doing something, I come down with something. Is it a cycle? Is it something to do with the cycle or something?
Yeah, I mean, this time of the year now is, in terms of seasonal infections, people think of it being December, January, February, whatever, but March and April are often the peak in terms of both respiratory infections. March is notorious for bacterial and viral respiratory infections. So the GP data often shows that. But also there's a big stomach bug going around at the moment. It seems to be going across a lot of the country, which is a viral stomach bug, which probably is what you had, Linda. So yeah, I mean, there is definitely quite a concentration of these problems now. But then once it gets through to about a month away, it does begin to peter out. So hopefully you're through it.
So just keep persevering.
Keep going.
Yeah. So I'm finding some of the recipes I'm not keen on. I really can't take aubergines and some of the things you've got in the recipes. So I just chop and change the meal plans. And the one basis I keep going back to is the Kachari. I really love that. So I've always, normally every week, I've got a batch in the fridge. And that's one of my go-tos now.
Yeah, that's a key part of it, is that ability to particularly now, if we're in week 1 or week 2, it can help to be a little bit more rigid with the plans. But the aim of this is that freedom where when it ends, everyone's come to what to do next, and the ability to mix and match and modify recipes and pick ones that work better for you. That's the really big part of what this is about. So if your body's, same what we said about exercise a minute ago, if you're thinking I really should go do a weight session but I'm really tired and don't want to, if you do it, it's not going to be much service to you. If you're having aubergines and every part of you is saying I don't like them, your body's not going to digest and assimilate those nutrients anyway. So we've got to be more intuitive with the way we respond to what we eat and what we exercise and everything else.
And some people love meal plans. Like, some people want to be told what to eat. Other people don't like the meal plans and go rogue. So whatever works for you, you're all different and you need to do what suits. So you don't need to justify whether you are on a meal plan or you're not on a meal plan. You guys can do what suits you. So that's good.
With the fatigue side and exercise, like I was saying, when I come home, I'm just exhausted. Should I try and do something to get to work past that, or just not just give in? But how do you know when it's best to work through it? And
with long COVID, so any post-viral fatigue, including particularly long COVID, they say whatever you think you can do, reduce it by 50%.
Right.
So if you feel like you can go for a half-hour walk, go for a 15-minute walk and see how you feel. If you feel well on it, next time go for 20 minutes, because the worst thing with post-viral is something called payback, where you feel like you're going out for a walk, you go out for an hour walk, and you put such a demand on your body that you then have to, it takes 3 or 4 days to recuperate, and you're completely wiped out, and that sets you back a long way in terms of the cycle of the post-viral. So you always want to undercook it if it's long, particularly if it's long COVID. Doing extreme exercise or more than your body's prepared for can just put you back so far. So always undercook it. That's not to say we can be sedentary, not doing anything, but just be very, very mindful of not pushing beyond the threshold where you've done too much, because it's not good at all.
I found that with the swimming last week, because I'm a really good swimmer, and I go with a friend, and I've been teaching her to she can swim, but to swim better and do the strokes a bit easier in the breathing side. And then I said to her, I'm just going to do some lengths on my own. And I used to do 100 lengths with not even sort of think about it. And I did 10 lengths and I was wiped out. And I know I'm a bit more unfit than I was 2 years ago, but to me, 10 lengths is nothing. And I was struggling.
I mean, this long COVID is wreaking havoc now. It's almost like, because the acute one is obviously dropped massively, there's more capacity for the long COVID to be spoken about and people dealing with it, and it just seems to be endemic. It seems to be everywhere at the moment, and huge problem. So yeah, let's keep on the long COVID tincture, keep that going until you're feeling better.
Thank you.
Janice, you're unmuted. Is that intentional?
Sorry,
you're unmuted. So I wondered if you want. How's your week been?
Oh, it's been great. I visited my new grandson, who is 5 weeks old, so that was delightful. I'm really enjoying the whole thing. It's making me join lots of dots. I think I said to you that I connected with Ayurveda. Well, I'm a yoga teacher, and I've been doing this for over 30 years, so I'm familiar with Ayurveda, but there's lots of gaps, and you guys are managing to fill those gaps for me, and I'm very grateful. Because of the cold, I haven't really done a lot of exercise this week, but I practice yoga and meditation every day, so that's like brushing my teeth, as you were talking about, Sam.
Yeah.
I've been teaching this morning, and encourage my students to think about it in that way, that no matter what you're doing, it has to be intuitive and how you're feeling at the time, just taking it a day at a time, really, and in embracing the menu plans. I'm vegetarian anyway, so but that doesn't always mean that you've got a great diet. You can go slightly off piste a bit, but no, I'm finding it really interesting, because normally Triphala for me in the past has been really challenging in my system, and I'm finding this time, and maybe it's just where I am in my life, I don't know, but I seem to be tolerating it much more, and tolerating beans and lentils in a way that I haven't been before. I'm not exactly sure why that should be. I just, and the soups are great, and having different breakfasts. I gave up eating cereals a long time ago, but was struggling to have more of a mix within my diet. And so I'm really enjoying putting these things together. So I'm very grateful. Thank you very much. And we may be doing a one-to-one at some point, Sam.
Well, I think for me, the thing I really love about the abundance kind of concept is actually it's been so ingrained in us for such a long time through diet culture and things like that, to eliminate things, to take things out, to not eat that, to stop that, to restrict that. Yeah. And I think the thing I love about this concept is actually adding things in and getting, eat the fats, eat the protein, eat the carbohydrates. I can have that kind of inclusion as opposed to the restriction. And I think, that's kind of, I think, one of the big successes of this concept.
And I think that's really, really important. There is such conflict out there on what one ought not to do, whether it's with exercise, whether it's with food. And I think what you guys are doing is really, really important. And I've mentioned you to lots of people. So I think next year, when it all starts again, including my daughter, who's just had the baby, I think she will be joining you. And because so many times we're asked to exclude so many things that are really, really beneficial for you. And I've gone back to using ghee much more than I have, for a long time. And it's not putting weight on.
I'm convinced we all need to be having ghee every day. And the more I read about it, the more research papers that are coming out. It's one of those things like extra virgin olive oil, your bitter green veg. There's certain foods that just provide these broad benefits on not getting ill, and ghee is one of those. At the cellular level, at the organ level, it's just we need to be. I'm convinced it's going to be one of those. It's almost like where green tea and turmeric was 10 years ago. It's just profound. So
I mean, if you can put ghee in your eye, then that says a lot, doesn't it? Literally, you can.
Would you put ghee in your eye?
You can put. So there's an Ayurvedic practice where you put ghee in your eye, and Sam's done it to me multiple times. Yeah, and it's very peculiar, but it's amazing, like for cataracts and things like that. So I think that's just a testament to
really? Okay.
Yeah. So So it's yeah, I kid you not, Google it after you get off this. It'll blow
We've
your
got
mind.
we've got a video, maybe we could share it. We've
Yeah.
got a tutorial of how to, super easy to
I look
do.
like a little fish because I'm like blinking in the game. So yeah, Katie, you're unmuted there. I think you're
Yeah,
pleased.
just to say, I think listening to what you've said today, the most important thing for me is routine. So Sam mentioned a few weeks ago about the getting up early. I mean, getting up when the light's there. So I start my day then and do some morning journaling, then go off to my shed to do some meditation and some qigong. But it's absolute, I have to do it by routine before I then have breakfast and then do the rest of the day. But also the prepping of the food. So today is my day off, and I just ring fence a couple of hours to get on and do the 2 or 3 main things. And you're quite right, it is absolutely having that in the fridge. So it's not a case then of going, oh my gosh, what are we going to eat tonight and how's it going to be? It's already there, and I've got my veg and everything. I go out over the weekend and get the shopping list. So I have to be organized, because otherwise I'm totally disorganized. So it really is, that framework is vital. Yeah.
And I think if you are time restrictive, if you don't have time to prep, then batch cooking, and I keep saying about this batch cook meal plan, I am working on it, but batch cooking your soups or batch cooking things that freeze well, so that even if you have just a massive portion of the same soup but you've got 20 portions in the freezer, then you know that you've got that on those days where you might be a little bit stuck, or your shopping day and you're waiting for your delivery or whatever. So yeah, I completely agree, Katie. I think the prep for me is my big thing.
And with exercise as well, so having that daily qigong and then a couple of Pilates and then a couple of walks. Sometimes I have to enforce myself, so halfway through the day of seeing people, I find that half an hour just sort of bomb around the block, but I know it does me good, and it's it feels right. So very important.
Fantastic. So it's obviously working for you, because you look really well.
Absolutely yes, thank you.
Hello, Alice. How are you? It's nice to see your face.
Hello.
Are you moving again, Alice? You've got boxes in the background.
You're not moving.
I've moved twice in the last 4 months. And I literally moved like last weekend. And
where are you now?
I'm still in Bristol. I'm just in a different place. I was doing quite well and I was really enjoying it, and then I started moving and I twisted my ankle quite badly, and I just haven't done any of it. But today, I'm in the middle of cooking quinoa instead of couscous, so I'm getting back on it.
How's your ankle?
Really sore. I actually went to the hospital yesterday, even though it was 10 days ago I did it, and because I'm getting like shooting pains in my toes and stuff, and the woman says I've just sprained it, so I just got to get on with it. But I'm kind of looking forward to getting back into it. And I've actually moved in with my boyfriend, which is a new thing. And he's generally very healthy. He's super fit. He thinks about what he eats a lot, but he doesn't eat that many vegetables, but he thinks he does. But I said to him yesterday, I was like, just you wait. Because basically, I think what I'd like to do is for us to eat together, and then for him to add more bulk, I guess, to the food. Like, we're going to do the pad thai tonight, and he'll have rice with it as well, and just make sure there's enough protein and stuff in it for him. So I'm kind of excited for me, because I'm not really doing it to lose weight. It's more just I just want to be well. Looking back on last year, I wasn't very well in lots of different ways, and I do not feel vital. And I guess I felt like what someone else was just saying about routine. I think with all the change that's been going on in my life, I've kind of lost that routine, and I think I felt really uninspired by food. And I think, as I mentioned in one of the posts on the Facebook group, I felt really inspired by the food that you guys, and Holly, your meal plans are great, and some of them I feel really resistant to. So like, I don't really eat beans, and I don't eat that many grains or like lentils. I just don't. I feel like it doesn't agree with me. So my diet generally is kind of meat or fish with sweet potatoes and loads of vegetables. And I'm actually just doing exactly what you guys have said. And I've come out the other side being like, wow, I'm actually not as farty as I thought I would be. Thanks, you're so sexy. It's my body feels like it's agreeing with it more than I thought it would, and I don't really miss meat and stuff in the way that I did. I have it, and we've kind of both agreed that like if we're going to have it, much better quality, like maybe once or twice a week, or like maybe fish or something. So yeah, I'm kind of excited, I guess, to get back into it.
I think that's what it's about. Like, even though, you know, we call it the Ayurvedic abundance diet because obviously so much of it is based around food, but that the intention is that this is a kind of, I don't know, a diving board into your future of health. You know, that's kind of and it provides that structure and that support that people need to get going. But we fully expect that everyone here is still going to be referring to those menus in 6 months, a year. Like that's our ultimate goal. So
I think for me, I really struggle as well, because obviously I have a lot of knowledge and I sometimes just find it hard to implement it without that structure. And I think, yeah, being part of the group, like I know I was late today because I had work, but even just being here, it's just a reminder, like I'm kind of a bit ADHD in my nature. So it's like, oh, a butterfly, I forgot that the Ayurvedic abundance diet.
Yeah.
To have that like check in and have the group and stuff, I think it's really helpful, and to have that guidance just about, instead of me being like, oh my god, what am I going to eat, what horrible slightly out of date food have I got in the fridge, it's about just making it a priority, I guess.
Massive. Do you know, it's huge as well, because, you know, like Sam and I are not perfect. Like if I gave Sam a bag of donuts now, I really think he'd struggle to not eat them. Like
I'd eat all of them.
We are not perfect. So actually this is motivating. It's so motivating for us. It's so inspiring for us. And actually the energy and the vibration that you guys are all bringing by sharing is amazing. So it's definitely that group energy, and it's really, really important, I think, to kind of keeping everybody on track. So yeah. Anyone else happy to share?
Can I just say something for Linda? It's been bugging me since she came on and said that she can't eat at her desk. Is there somewhere that she can go and eat?
That's really bad, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because if she's got somewhere else she could go, even for 15 minutes, but she's doing herself harm by not being allowed, or they're doing her harm by not allowing her to eat if she's in the workplace. And I know she said she doesn't get paid, but surely they should let her. I mean, she ought to be able to say to herself, I deserve at least 15 minutes to feed myself.
I know. Yeah.
Is she still there?
She's gone. I think she's got her family right. But yeah, we might. I'll follow up with her, Carol, because I just
don't think that's right.
It's very militant, isn't it? It's very
not
good. We can follow up with her.
Margot, how are you?
I'm good and bad. I had to go into hospital last week, and I found that really challenging to, it was only a day thing, but I found that emotionally very stressful, and it's sort of what's hanging over from that, what I won't, having the results and not having the results for quite a while. So that sort of knocked me off kilter for a while. But generally, I love, the recipes and the diet. There is absolutely no way I'm vegetarian. However, I really enjoy cooking, your recipes. And I know they're not all vegetarian, but they're really good and they're really nourishing, and my husband likes them as well, which is really good. And the one thing I really struggle with is breakfast. I hate breakfast. I absolutely hate breakfast. And having breakfast at 7 o'clock in the morning would be, I haven't done that for probably since I was at school. So While I like the breakfasts, I can't manage to have them at the time. So that sort of knocks everything, it knocks the rest of the day out. So I'm not having lunch until later. I do manage to have dinner usually around 6 o'clock, so that's not so bad. You know, I make the granola. I love the granola. I have it with fruit. I have it with coconut yogurt and stuff. But and also the exercise is something that's a bit of a struggle for me. There is absolutely nothing that I would like to do when it comes to exercise. You know, and when you were talking about finding something that it is you like, yeah, there isn't anything really.
Like walking? Is walking?
Yeah, I walk, but only because I have to, not because I want to. So, but I do that, yeah. But, you know, it's interesting what Sam was saying earlier about this thing of feeling you have to do something in order to achieve something. I haven't got there yet to find something that's enjoyable enough that I want to do it, you know, on a long-term basis.
I think if you really like, if there's genuinely nothing that you can't find that you enjoy, but I challenge you to go back to that thought and see if you can find something, because even if you reframe it in a different way, you know, you put on, I don't know, drum and bass, whatever your jam is, you put it on and you find something. But even, okay, so say you've been through there and you can't find anything that motivates you. I think if you need to twist it so that, you know, it's like a get it done mentality, there's some really amazing, like YouTube has got so much stuff on it. There's like some 7-minute videos on there there's a lady called Lucy, and there's millions on there that are 7-minute workouts.
Yeah. Okay.
So even if you detest every second of it, which I really hope you don't, but you know, a 7-minute workout is achievable. Like that's 2 songs.
Life Hack. If you go to Life Hack on YouTube, they've got a 7-minute workout that was published in the American Journal of Internal Medicine, so one of the most powerful medical journals. And that 7 minutes, well, it's 9 minutes, but there's 7 minutes of actual activity. Yeah. And it ticked all of the boxes for cardiovascular and lung health in 7 minutes. It was like a game-changing research. And literally it's 7 minutes. And you can,
Life Hack on YouTube, right?
I'll post it on the Facebook group. Yeah, it's called Life Hack. Yeah, it's really good.
But even when you boil your kettle, you know, even when you boil your kettle out, you do squats or you do some star jumps, or literally just kind of trying to find little moments where you can add in a little bit of movement. Then I think every little bit helps. So but everyone loves to dance, don't they?
I don't.
Thank you, Sam.
Oh, come on, Margot.
Good. Right, I want to, sorry, I know we probably, there's people leaving, which is fine, because I appreciate people have got other things to do, but I just want to make sure that we've given everybody the opportunity to share if they want to. Tracy,
hello, Tracy.
She's here.
How are you?
Hello.
Hi, okay.
To the party, I've been listening on Facebook, and I thought I'll just join in and just say hi.
Okay, how's things?
How's life?
Really good. Yeah, it's gorgeous day here today. It's so sunny.
Yeah, I bet Chris is in the garden sunbathing, isn't he?
No, he's in Swanage working this morning.
Oh, is it? Oh, fair enough. But you're all well?
Yeah, we're all really well, thank you.
And how's things working out for you guys?
Yeah.
In terms of the abundance lifestyle.
Yeah, do you know what? I love it because I open my spice drawer and I've just got every spice that you can think of, because we've been doing this for so many years now. Every time you give us a new recipe, I'm like, yeah, I've got all the herbs and spices. And it's just like, it's great. So we've not stuck totally to the menus for each week, but I do predominantly cook from all of your recipes. So it might not be a dinner from the abundance diet, but it will be the lamb biryani or something that you've created. So I know it's all healthy. But yeah, we're doing good.
Lovely to see you, Tracy.
Yeah.
And you.
Give my best to Chris.
I will do.
So if anyone's wondering, we have, I'm sure some of you are aware of it, but we have a membership plan or platform that's the Ayurvedic Mentor. So some of the recipes that Tracy's referring to are actually from that, where there's a lot of other recipes and things like that. So that's kind of where we share a lot of Ayurvedic wisdom, and there's another kind of community there that focused on healthy lifestyle and things like that. So that's what Tracy's referring to. But I think, is that everybody? I think I've kind of, if anyone's, I think everyone's good. So we've got another support coaching call in about 2 weeks, and there is another 3-day reset coming up. I think it's towards the end of March. I can't remember the dates off the top of my head, but obviously we're in contact with you all regularly. But yeah, I will let you all go now, because I'm assuming everybody's going to have some lunch about now, because seeing as it's lunchtime.
And donuts.
Yeah, nut donuts.
Have a great day, everyone.
Yeah. Oh, look, Gillian's even got her apron on.
There you go. Look at that.
Look at that. A plus for you. All right, guys.
Bye.
Have a nice afternoon. We'll see you all soon. Take care. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.